Okay. This meeting is being recorded. Okay.
Hi, everyone. It's your Las Vegas home specialist team, Andy and Lisa. We're joined today by a special guest, Sonny Flores from Northwestern Mutual. He's been my financial advisor for probably, I don't know, going on 8-10 years, somewhere around there already that we've known each other. He's a great guy, and he's always up on the latest trends and what's going on in the financial markets. So I thought it might be good for everyone to hear a little bit about what the best way to protect yourself during this period that we're going through right now. So hi, Sonny, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Andy.
Hey, Sonny.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Hey,
We're really happy to have you with us today.
Yeah, so Sonny, you have any recommendations for the best way for people to handle the unique situation that we're all going through?
Yes, so I think the best thing to do, is not to really freak out, and do too much, and you and I have talked, a number amount of times, and, a lot of this stuff with what's going on in the market right now, although it is scary and there is a lot of uncertainty, it isn't permanent, now granted, it's completely different from what we went through back in 2008, where that was a true, financial crisis. And I'm sure you've heard this time and time again. It's a health pandemic first, and a financial crisis second, or a health pandemic first that's had financial repercussions. And so, long term, on the retirement side, things like 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, 403bs, those types of accounts specifically, they're geared for long-term planning. They're not geared to trade as if you were in day trading. And because of that, although yes, we are in a downturn in the market, for clients that do have time, they've got time, 10, 15, 20 years before they plan on liquidating and using these retirement accounts, it may not feel like it, but it's actually a really good time to start putting in a little bit more money. I don't want to give like a blanket statement and just say, you hear the buzzwords as far as reallocate your portfolio, rebalance, and make sure it's diversified. All of that stuff is true, but taking it a step further as a financial advisor, when we're sitting down with clients and we're looking at, specifically what we can do, when we talk about rebalancing, what we're looking at is areas of opportunity where the parts of their portfolios that weren't necessarily hit as much during this downturn, deploying that, and oftentimes those parts of their portfolio that is actually, didn't lose any money, or if anything, earned a little bit, using that as a way to buy rebalancing, buy other parts of the market, certain what we call sectors that are undervalued right now. So a lot of U.S. large companies are undervalued, often some of them even by 40-50%.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the things I see is when I see that, the market was kind of almost at an all-time high before all this happened, right?
Yes, it was.
So I see, the stocks going down when this started. And I think to myself, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think to myself, if I had a lot of money, I would buy a lot of those because I feel like they're eventually going to come back again. It might take a couple of years, but I feel like that's going to come back again. So I see it at a really low number. It almost looks like a discount.
Yeah. So that's exactly the way that we should be looking at it. It's with the market prices going down, that's when everybody wants to get in, is at the bottom of the market. Now, the challenging part is that it's hard to predict when that is, again, if we kind of look back, the market today is up. The NASDAQ actually erased all of its losses year to date that it's realized. So as we sit today, and as I'm looking at the market, the NASDAQ specifically is in positive territory. Now, a lot of that has to do with, with what's going on with the tech companies and, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Netflix kind of carrying the brunt of that, specifically Netflix, because they were uniquely positioned. People staying at home and taking advantage of that, those services. But to your point, absolutely, not knowing when the downturn in the market, when the actual bottom is, it's hard to predict, and so as prices start to go down in value, those are great opportunities to buy, especially, again, it comes down to time horizon. If we know that we're not going to utilize these dollars within the next 10, 15, 20 plus years, that allows us to ride out this downturn in the market. And we know that, Google, we know that Apple, we know that GE, all of these Fortune 500 companies that have been around are not going anywhere. And so if their share prices are down 30, 40, 50%, if we've got the time to wait it out and know that they're going to come back up at some point, it's a great chance to get in, So a lot of your, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, my daughter, who's 25, she got into the market as it started to go down for the first time. She's working with somebody who's giving her financial advice. So I guess she has a financial advisor. At 25, I didn't have a financial advisor at 25. But she did the same thing. And they went down after she invested, but then they've come back up again, and she's 25. So, I thought she was being pretty smart. So I was proud of her. But to talk about that, when to buy at the bottom, Andy and I had that experience during the recession when people were, we want to buy at the bottom of the market. Well, when you wind up buying, if you wait for the bottom of the market, you're buying on the way back up again. And so we would encourage people to buy as the market was going down, because they were still going to get, when the market came back up, they'd still get the gain. So you can't, there's no way to tell. I think stocks and real estate are kind of similar that way. Just buy on the way down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's certain things you can do to at least on the stock market side, on the retirement side, there's certain things that you can do to help better position your odds of buying during the downturn. So some of the things that we'll do with clients that have a lot of cash that was sitting on the side, instead of doing, monthly purchases into the market where they're putting, money into their retirement accounts, kids' college accounts, investment accounts, we're switching it up to where we're doing sometimes, 2 buys during the week. So you're buying into the market twice a week, just again, because if we're creating more frequency of money going into the market, it's just increasing the odds that you're going to catch it during the downturn. Now, again, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. I don't know. Yeah, the market is up today. I don't know if it's going to come back down tomorrow. But looking back at it, the bottom of the market was right around March 18th, March 19th. That's when everything pretty much bottomed out. And from there, it's been, on a steady increase. Now, there have been, dips here and there. The past few days have been, pretty substantial dips, but it still hasn't dipped lower than, where the figures were at on March 18th, March 19th. And so by simply increasing the frequency of investing, that'll help you increase your chances of getting in during the downturn. And, to your point, with real estate back in 2008, when the market was down, nobody knew, right? People were scared to buy a house. They didn't know what they were going to do. And, they waited. It's the same thing when it comes with your investments or your retirement accounts. You end up waiting and trying to time it and get in, and you end up just missing out on that bottom.
We used to tell people that they want to wait, and I'd be like, well, the house is never going to be a negative value. Nobody's going to pay you to buy this house. And certainly with quality investments, financial investments, I guess you can make the same argument. It's highly unlikely that the big well, like you said, like Google's going to go away. It's not. But even some of the other type of stocks, I don't know. I think of like manufacturing. Tell me some other good stocks that aren't tech that you would think are going to be around. Oh, I'll have to wait a sec. I'll come back. I wonder if we ever freeze out like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh.
Know where you hook up after.
Yeah. You back? There.
I'm back. Yeah, I was cutting out.
Yeah.
Did you hear
So
Lisa's question?
Cut out to where I heard it was something about, I think I heard quality of stock.
Well, I was just, we're assuming tech stocks aren't going to go away, but there's lots of other companies that are publicly traded. And I was just wondering if the same would apply, that they're never going to, if they don't go out of business, they're never going to be in a negative situation. Kind of like real estate. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's two ways of approaching it. On the retirement side, you can utilize, there's different types of funds, our personal philosophy is, utilizing index funds, ETF funds, and basically what those are, they're basically, you've got when you buy a stock into one company, you're investing into just that one company. So you can have a stock portfolio of, 50, 60, 100 different companies, but your investment is going to be, typically going to be a little bit more. So your account is going to be much larger. When you buy things like index funds or ETFs or mutual funds, your dollar goes much longer. One index fund or one ETF fund can have anywhere between 200 to maybe even 500 different funds just within that one fund. And so you get a lot more broader diversification. And so, I always tell clients that when we're putting together an investment portfolio, specifically on the retirement side, for the account to go from, $500,000 down to zero is impossible, because your dollars are just so well diversified and so spread out. Now, can it go down from $500,000 down to, 300, 280, 400? Sure. But
that's
again,
what we
that
saw in
comes
2008,
down
right?
to, understanding. Yeah.
I think you froze up again, Sonny.
Oh, okay. Here.
There.
I can hear you, Andy.
Okay.
Okay,
there.
we're back.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah. You'll have to unmute yourself again. There, he's unmuted.
Are you there, Sonny?
I hear you guys.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Let's try this. Let's see. I wonder if it's my signal.
No, because we seem to be doing okay on our end, unless, are we cutting out on you at all?
I think that. I have another question.
You can always put it in the chat box too. Oh.
There we go.
Ah.
Is that better?
Can you hear us? No.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let's try this.
I
All
see it.
right.
Can see you now.
Okay, perfect.
So I had another question too.
Yeah.
You know how every year when I'm doing my taxes, I know that I have a chance to buy like I'm buying for last year. Gives me a tax break. With the
Mm-hmm.
taxes being not really due, I think, until July 15th. I actually haven't
Yeah.
done mine yet, but I'm supposed to do them next week. How's that going this year? What's the changes with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't really impact, much other than the fact that it allows, some people to get through, maybe they've got like a cash flow crunch, right? Because of the economy being forced to be shut down. And so that just allows us, a few more extra months to contribute into
Okay.
those retirement accounts. Yeah.
So I can
So
still
they
contribute to 2019 now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'm gonna probably talk to you about that later.
Okay. Yeah.
Abby's been
Sounds
having
good.
a good quarter.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of talking about that, one of the things too, so, you can, money management, financial, when it comes to like investment planning, portfolio management, it's my opinion that it really is, that stuff it really is a commodity. I'm not going to outperform, another broker or another financial institution on their retirement accounts by 10%. You just don't see that. Typically you will probably be, within, 1 to 2 basis points of each other. And it's because, all of us have access to the same stuff. And so I always tell clients, well, when would be a good time to hire a financial advisor versus not? And my answer is always, number one, if you're kind of like a do-it-yourselfer and you want to kind of just do it yourself and manage it yourself, you can do it, and it's going to be a lot more cost effective. Now, not a lot of people have the time nor the interest to do that, and so they'll typically hire us on that front. But really, the second thing is using your financial advisor, whoever it is, to their fullest capacity. So some of the things that we do, it's not just the investment, the retirement planning. Yes, that's part of what we do. Yes, do we, make sure that the client's in the correct type of investment platform, the portfolio is well spread out and diversified, we're rebalancing, we're doing all those things. But our big value add is the planning itself. And what I mean by that is, taking advantage of, in light of, again, what's going on with today's market environment. So, knowing that, number one, we have an extra few months. If we want to make our contributions into those, retirement accounts to get some deductions today, that'll be great. Number two, our biggest value add really is, I probably save clients a lot more in taxes than we do anything else, and so and it may not be taxes today. It can be taxes in the form of, what we call Roth conversions. So, what a Roth conversion is, maybe a client has an IRA that at one point the IRA was at, a certain value. Now that IRA, because the market is down, that value is less. And so strategically, we'll go in there and we'll look at it and we'll say, okay, well, we can take this. If your IRA was once, and I'll just use a round number for easy math. If your IRA was once $100,000 in value, and we wanted to convert all of that IRA over into a Roth. So number one, what is a Roth IRA? Why would somebody want to do it? A Roth IRA creates tax-free income and tax-free withdrawal
Right.
later on down the road. So you're able to fund it with after-tax dollars.
Mhm.
Roth conversion is basically you take an existing IRA and you can convert that balance over into a Roth. Well, what happens when you do that is whatever balance you contribute, whatever dollar amount you convert over, that's added to your taxable income. So if you've got $100,000 into an IRA and you decide, hey, I want to convert all of this IRA over into a Roth, I'd rather pay the taxes now
And later.
than later. So we know today, right? Whether you like them or you don't, I won't get political, but Trump lowered taxes. That's basically what he did, for everybody.
Mhm.
And so if we know that we're paying less taxes today, and whether Trump gets reelected or not, but we know today's tax environment is less.
Mhm.
If a Democrat gets into office, taxes will probably go up, right? The stimulus package with what's going on, although it's phenomenal, and how how Congress acted quickly to get money out to not only individuals, families, people that work, as well as small business owners and business owners. That stimulus that they created, the $2+ trillion that they injected back into the economy, that's going to have to come due at some point. You look at Social Security, the fact that how people are living a lot longer, Social Security possibly running out of money. Now, I don't think they're going to get rid of it, but I think what they'll do is they'll probably push people's ages out further for them to qualify for it. And then you look at, again, the debt ceiling. So if I had to bet on it, I would say, I'm 38 years old today. I think by the time that I retire, taxes are going to be a heck of a lot higher than they are today, if I had to bet on it, And so if you can convert an IRA today and you can afford to pay the taxes today to get all the money out later on down the road tax-free,
Mhm.
that would be a very strategic move. We take it a step further and we look at today's environment and we say, okay, well, you know what? Your IRA was once at 100,000. The market went down. And let's just say again, for easy math, let's say your IRA now went from 100,000 down to 50,000, right? So it went down by 50%. Is it painful to look at that statement? Absolutely. But where's the silver lining? The silver lining is you can say, well, you know what? We're in a low tax environment today. You had $100,000 in that value in that account. As long as we don't move or shift anything, it will come back at some point. But if we want, we could convert the money today, pay taxes on the 50,000 today, and move all of that over into a Roth and get all that growth and gain back
Tax-free.
moving forward, tax-free, right? And so this only works if, we look at it from a planning perspective, because, somebody will look at their account. Yeah, it's painful to see your account go down by that, by that much. But you know what, if we can take advantage of the current tax environment and knowing these strategies, it's an absolutely great tool, to use.
That was interesting. Thank you for the education.
Yeah, I some time ago, and I'm not going to say this right, but there was the option to take a Roth IRA and invest it, buy real estate with it, and that became the Roth IRA. And I don't know if you still can do that or not, but I think in particular it was getting used for inheritance. The Roth IRA could go to like a grandchild or something. Am I like, am I anywhere close to reality here?
Yeah. So Lisa, what you're talking about, there's a couple different things that you're referencing there. So the first thing that you're referencing is what we call like a self-directed
right.
IRA.
Mm-hmm.
So the self-directed IRA, you can hold, you can hold real estate. And, when you hold real estate within an IRA, essentially what that does, it allows for your, really the primary benefit is that it's only if the property is cash flowing. So if the property is cash flowing, what that does is it creates tax deferred growth. Because basically what's happening is that those dollars are coming back in, the cash flow revenue, and you're just reinvesting that back into the IRA. I typically advise clients to do that if they've got a good amount of properties, investment properties that are owned. They really don't have much debt on it, and then at the same time too, they've got a good amount of cash flow. Because the thing with real estate, you buy a property for 100,000 and it's worth 200,000. Well, the only time you trigger that tax is if you sell it and liquidate it, right? If you're holding on to it, that 200, the $100,000 of growth and appreciation, that's already tax deferred as it is. So really, the only benefit when you're doing a self-directed IRA is if you got a good amount of cash flow. I mean, if somebody's cash flowing on their properties, 10 grand a month, 5 grand a month, that's 60,000 a year. If they can defer that and get some, some tax benefits, that's 100% absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that you were talking about is, so for an inherited IRA, so that's a little bit different. So the way that those work is you inherit it from, a loved one, or, a family member that's passed away. And what's happening is now that money gets transferred over to you. And then, you have the ability to take money out of that account. And the 10% early withdrawal penalty is removed. Is essentially it. So it basically becomes a liquid tax deferred investment type of account. So you can take money out of it as long as you don't have to be 60 years old to take money out if it's inherited.
So if the money's coming in from, let's say, a real estate investment that's cash flowing, it actually provides tax-free income to the person who inherits it then. Am I kind of right there? So depending on how it is, was, structured. So if it's depending on the type of IRA, if it's like a traditional, what we call like a SEP IRA or a simple IRA, once that passes over and they inherit that IRA, it will still be it'll still grow tax deferred. So there will, really what we're talking about is the cash flow, because the equity in the property is going to grow, tax deferred regardless. Which is different than the cash flow that's coming in because it's income.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cash flow will grow tax deferred. Now, if we decide to take some of that cash out, then it's taxed as normal. Yeah,
okay, so it is taxed as normal income. Okay.
Yeah, taxed as normal income. It's only when it's held back into as long as we're not taking distributions, it'll continue to grow and compound tax deferred. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we have about 5 more minutes. So if there's anything you feel like you want to pass on that's important, go for it.
Yeah. So I think, especially with what's going on, you want to have a financial advisor that, it's really not just looking at, the current climate. And it is a lot more about kind of forward thinking, how we can, number one, learn from this, right? So if we know that the market is going to go down at some point, really understanding, how much risk you're really comfortable with. It's very easy to say, I can, I want to be aggressive, and I'm fine if my portfolio drops, 40% or 30%, but when that 30 to 40% drop actually happens, and statistically it happens every, 6 to 7 years. This bull market was a little bit longer, lasted about 11, but, really understanding, if you are truly comfortable with it, learning from that, because what we find is that most people aren't. They're really not comfortable with taking that amount of risk. The second thing is not to make any knee-jerk decisions based off of what's going on short term within the market. And so understanding that these retirement accounts, they're truly that they are retirement, and at some point they are going to go back up in value. My third thing to that is because we get clients that want to take advantage of, prices being so low, right? Just like in real estate, if you've got an investor that's sitting there in cash and they were just waiting for the market to drop, it's the same thing. We've got clients that were waiting for the market to drop. And so, how do you pick a stock, That's what some of the questions that I get. And I tell clients, the way that I pick for my own individual accounts, I'm not a day trader. I don't trade options. I don't do any of that stuff. But when it comes to the companies that I choose to invest individually as a stock, not so much on the retirement account, but just investing in a general investment account, I typically will stick with companies that I truly believe in. So whatever that company is for you, so that would be a good starting point. You have to truly believe in that company. The second thing would be, never invest a dollar amount that you're not comfortable with losing. Because at the end of the day, if you're buying, a single stake into one company, or the majority of your dollars are going into maybe even 7 companies, never put more than what you're comfortable with losing. And to that also, have a dollar amount in mind as far as what the price per share will go up to when you want to sell and liquidate. So that's more about currently today where you can kind of take advantage, but from a long-term perspective, sticking to your guns, if you've got a good financial advisor, bothering them, especially during this time. We tend to over communicate a lot with clients. Emails get sent out, kind of left and right, with what's going on. And so we'd rather have our clients be able to hear from us, get a hold of us, and reach us, and be more proactive versus being reactive and do the exact opposite. So yeah, just find a professional financial advisor that's going to be there for you, kind of walk you through everything, and really take the time to educate.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Sonny.
All right, guys.
For anybody out there that needs a financial advisor, Sonny and his team are awesome. I have my life insurance policies through them as well. He's very trusted. He knows what he's doing. He reads, kind of like Lisa and I stay up on real estate. He does the same thing. As you can see, he knows what he's talking about. So I couldn't recommend him strongly.
Great.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sonny, for joining us. And we'll post this on our Facebook, and we'll include Sonny's contact information. So if you want more, you'll be able to get it. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sonny. I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch soon, actually.